From savage team radio tirades
Go back with this f***ing setting. I keep saying I can't change it.
to wild crashes,
This is what you get with this f***ing shit show, honestly.
the chaos is as legendary as the wins. These are the times when Max Verstappen loses control. Few drivers have ever dominated a sport like Max Verstappen has dominated Formula One, but behind the trophies and the thunderous wins lies a driver whose fiery personality has created some of the most unforgettable moments in recent F1 history. From explosive outbursts and brutal team radio messages to controversial crashes and red mist racing, Verstappen's journey is littered with incidents that range from jaw-dropping brilliance to uncontrolled fury. Let's dive into some of the most intense moments that have defined Max Verstappen, both as a genius behind the wheel and a powder keg of emotion when things fall apart. Tuscan Grand Prix 2020. Off to a rough start. The 2020 Tuscan Grand Prix was supposed to be business as usual for Mercedes, with Lewis Hamilton in a class of his own, setting records like his 91st career victory, matching the legendary Michael Schumacher. Verstappen at the time was one of the few capable of squeezing between Hamilton and Bottas to create drama on track. In Abu Dhabi that year, for example, he qualified behind the two Mercedes, but the gap between them and the rest of the field was astronomical. Even Verstappen's teammate Albon couldn't keep up. But in Tuscany, things turned sour quickly. A technical failure right at the start dropped Verstappen down to 11th. Just moments after the lights went out, his Red Bull lost power, killing any chances of a podium.
Son of power!
From that point on, it was survival and then disaster. Carlos Sainz spun and chaos followed. Verstappen ended up in the gravel, his race over before it ever really began. He was livid. Over the radio, he fumed, stuck in the gravel and powerless to do anything. You could hear the frustration boiling over. It wasn't his fault, just rotten luck, but the rage was real and raw. Portugal 2020. FP2 collision with Stroll. Later that same year, things got heated again in free practice 2 at the Portuguese Grand Prix. Verstappen was on a flying lap when he found himself tangled up with Lance Stroll. And if you know anything about Stroll, you know these things rarely end quietly. Both drivers collided going into turn 1. It wasn't a race, just practice, but the aftermath was anything but casual. Verstappen exploded on the radio.
F***ing blind mother. Ah, sake, mate. Dickhead. Jesus Christ. Yeah, mate. I find this unbelievable. How can you be so blind?
The fury was immediate. Stroll had just finished his lap and should have given Max space. At least that's how Verstappen saw it. Stroll, on the other hand, claimed he didn't even see Verstappen and was busy checking his dash. The FIA called it a misunderstanding and gave neither driver a penalty. Still, the tension was clear, and Verstappen wasn't buying Stroll's excuse. Hungarian Grand Prix 2024, the breaking point. By 2024, Verstappen was no longer the rising star. He was the standard. After dominating the start of the season and pushing for yet another record-breaking year, Verstappen seemed untouchable. On the very first lap, Verstappen ran wide and had to give a position back to Norris or risk a penalty. From there, the anger took over. Over team radio, he ranted about unfairness and poor strategy. At one point, his engineer tried to calm him down and discuss plans, but Verstappen snapped, "You just say what you think and we decide. That's how it works now?" He continued to battle with Lewis Hamilton for the final podium spot. As things got more intense, Max lunged aggressively at Lewis, locking up and making contact. The commentators called it a return of 2015 Max, the reckless, fiery version of himself that many thought was long gone. Monaco 2021, pole position chaos. There's no place like Monaco when it comes to drama. In 2021, Verstappen was right in the hunt for pole position, only to have it snatched away in controversial fashion. In Q3, Charles Leclerc set the fastest time, but Verstappen was closing in fast. His first sector was lightning quick, and it looked like pole was his, until Leclerc crashed in the final seconds, bringing out a red flag and ending the session. Verstappen was fuming. He believed he had the pace to beat Leclerc, and the crash robbed him of that chance. Over the radio, he let it rip, dropping F-bombs and yelling in disbelief. While some questioned whether Leclerc crashed on purpose, Ferrari's celebrations were muted. They knew Monaco's tight circuit meant pole could win the race. Ironically, Leclerc never made it to the start line. A damaged drive shaft ruled him out, and Verstappen went on to win the race. Brazil 2018, collision with Ocon while leading. Perhaps one of the most dramatic and controversial incidents of Verstappen's career happened in Brazil in 2018. After qualifying fifth, he made an epic charge to the front, overtaking the likes of Vettel, Bottas, and eventually Hamilton to lead the race. Everything was going perfectly until Esteban Ocon, a backmarker on soft tyres, tried to unlap himself. Verstappen was caught off guard. They collided, sending Verstappen spinning and handing the lead back to Hamilton. The Dutchman was beyond enraged. Over the radio, he screamed, "What an idiot! What an idiot!" After the race, Verstappen confronted Ocon and physically shoved him multiple times. The fallout was immediate. Ocon got a penalty for the on-track incident, and Verstappen was handed 2 days of community service for his behaviour afterward. Spa 2023. Qualifying headaches. Even during Red Bull's most dominant season in 2023, Verstappen still found reasons to be upset, especially at Spa during qualifying. He barely made it through Q2, ending up 10th. On the radio, he unloaded on his engineer, Giampiero Lambiase, aka GP, furious about energy deployment and strategy. Lambiase responded calmly but firmly, putting the ball back in Verstappen's court. "You tell me what you want to do in Q3 and we'll do it." The exchange was tense, but it worked. In quarter 3, Verstappen put in a perfect lap and claimed pole position. Afterward, Max even offered a rare sort of apology. "Sorry for being such a yeah." Lambiase, used to the pressure by now, just chuckled and said, "Slowly getting used to it, Max." What ties all of these moments together isn't just Max Verstappen's talent, it's his intensity. His highs are sky high, but his lows can be explosive. Whether it's a mechanical failure, a backmarker ruining his race, or a teammate not playing ball, Verstappen doesn't hold back. He speaks his mind, pushes the limits, and wears his emotions on his sleeve. Some call it immaturity, others see it as pure passion. But love him or hate him, you can't ignore Max Verstappen. In an era where many drivers toe the corporate line and stay politically correct, Verstappen's rawness is rare. He's not perfect, but he's authentic. And that's what makes him such a magnetic force in the sport. From the outside, it might seem like he's just venting or losing control, but for Verstappen, every race is war. And in war, emotions run hot. His reactions, however controversial, are a window into the pressure cooker that is Formula One at the elite level. As the sport evolves and new stars emerge, Verstappen remains at the heart of the story. Not just for his blistering pace, but for the unforgettable chaos and drama he stirs up. Podium celebrations, fiery radio calls, post-race showdowns. With Max involved, you know one thing for sure, it's never boring.